20 miles south of Salt Lake City, a canyon road passes a set of doors built directly into a granite cliff. There are no signs explaining them. There is a small parking area, a guard station, and the doors. Behind those doors, buried under as much as 700 feet of solid granite, is one of the largest collections of information about ordinary people ever assembled. Birth records, death records, marriages, baptisms, census pages. The paperwork of hundreds of millions of lives from more than 100 countries going back centuries. Somewhere in that mountain, the odds say, there is a page with your family's names on it. Not a famous ancestor, not royalty, just a line of handwriting made by a clerk or a priest who never imagined it would end up inside a mountain in Utah. You cannot go in and look for it. Almost nobody can. This is a video about the mountain that remembers everyone and the quiet system it belongs to. The vault is called the Granite Mountain Records Vault. It sits in Little Cottonwood Canyon in the Wasatch Range, behind doors built to outlast almost anything that could happen outside them. The main entrance door weighs 14 tons. The two smaller entrances get 9-ton doors. When they were installed, the church said they were designed to survive a nuclear blast. Construction began in 1960. The vault became operational in 1965 and was formally dedicated in June 1966. The excavation runs about 600 feet into the mountainside. Long corridors, storage chambers over 100 meters long, offices, laboratories. The granite overhead is measured in hundreds of feet. The rock does most of the work. Deep inside the mountain, the temperature barely moves, and machines make up the difference, holding the chambers at a steady 55 degrees, dry as a bone. The conditions preservation engineers spend fortunes trying to build artificially. The owner of the vault is not a government. It is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That surprises people. It should raise an obvious question, and we will get to it. But first, what is actually on the shelves? The vault's core collection is microfilm, 2.4 million rolls of it, holding more than 3.5 billion images of documents. Each roll carries hundreds of pages, photographed one at a time, over decades, in courthouses and parishes and archives across the world. The subjects are not presidents or kings. They are entries like this: a baptism in a Swedish parish in 1843, a marriage in Quebec in 1791, a death registered in Manila in 1922, a census sheet from a county that no longer exists. Individually, almost none of these pages matter to history. Nobody is writing a book about the third daughter of a Norwegian farmer. Collectively, they are something no library ever attempted before, a backup copy of the human family. And the mountain keeps them the way a bank keeps gold, sealed, guarded, at a steady temperature, in the dark. In the early years, you could tour parts of the facility. Those tours ended decades ago. Today, the church says it plainly: for security reasons, there is no public access. The doors open for staff and for almost no one else, which raises the question we parked a minute ago. Why does a church own a mountain full of other people's paperwork? The answer is theological, and you do not have to share the belief to find the result remarkable. Latter-day Saints practice ordinances on behalf of their ancestors. In their belief, families can be connected across generations, including generations that died long before the church existed. But you cannot connect to an ancestor you cannot name. So, genealogy for this church is not a hobby. It is religious infrastructure. Beginning in the late 1930s, the church started sending workers into the world's archives with microfilm cameras, not to take the documents, to photograph them page by page and bring the film home. Think about what that job was. A camera operator sets up in a Welsh county record office or a Bavarian church basement or a municipal building in the Philippines. They open a register that may not have been opened in 50 years. They photograph every page. Then the next register. Then the next. For weeks. Then they pack up and move to the next town. Multiply that by thousands of operators in more than 100 countries across 8 decades. Wars interrupted the work and also justified it. Some of the archives photographed in the 1930s and 40s were destroyed soon after, bombed, burned, flooded, lost. In those cases, the microfilm in Utah is no longer a copy. It is the only surviving version. The original is gone. The mountain remembers. By the 1950s, the collection had outgrown ordinary buildings. Film needs stable temperature and humidity, and the church was accumulating film faster than it could build climate control. Someone proposed the permanent solution: stop fighting the climate and put the collection somewhere the climate never changes. They chose granite. The vault was blasted out of Little Cottonwood Canyon at the height of the Cold War, and it carries that era in its bones. 14-ton doors, deep rock. The design brief was not "keep the rain out." It was closer to "survive the end of the world outside." Inside, the church built what may be the most patient archive on Earth. Microfilm, kept cold and dry, is rated in centuries. The mountain does not rush. The reels sit in their canisters on their shelves, and each one is a small bet that someone, someday, will want that page. Here is the strange part. The bet keeps being placed, but it is almost never collected. Almost none of this is ever read. A reel comes off the shelf when a specific request needs a specific page, and with a collection this size, most reels wait decades between requests, if a request ever comes at all. The camera operator who photographed a parish register in 1952 may be the last human being who ever turned those pages. The mountain was built to remember everyone. It succeeded. And the price of remembering everyone is that almost all of it waits in the dark, unread. If that were the whole story, it would already be worth a video. It is not the whole story. Because the mountain in Utah is not unique. It has siblings.
Before we leave Utah, one number. 3.5 billion images of records, and still growing through the digital cameras that replaced the film. If you looked at one page every second, without sleeping, 100 years would not get you through the mountain. Hold that thought, because the same math is hiding in other places. Yorkshire, England. Under a green hillside at Boston Spa, the British Library operates a storage building that holds around 7 million items in a single, sealed, airtight void. The oxygen inside is held just under 15%, too low for a fire to spread, low enough that humans only enter briefly and with permission. So the librarians are robots. 7 of them, cranes on rails. When a reader somewhere in Britain requests a book, a crane the size of a building shelf glides down the aisle in the dim, pulls a bin, and sends the book out into the light. Britain has a law, on the books since 1662, that a copy of every published book must be deposited in the national collection. Every book. The brilliant ones, the forgotten ones, the self-published family histories, the manuals for machines that no longer exist. The law does not judge. It keeps. Most of those 7 million items have not been requested in decades. Some have never been requested at all. There are books in that chamber that no human being has opened since the day they arrived. The robot glides past them all night in the low oxygen, in the dark. Boyers, Pennsylvania. An old limestone mine, more than 200 feet down, now run by a company called Iron Mountain. The mine holds corporate records, film masters, master tapes of famous recordings, and it holds the Bettman Archive, roughly 11 million news photographs, the visual memory of the 20th century. The wars, the presidents, the street scenes, the faces. The photographs were moved underground because the cold slows their decay. A print that would fade in decades upstairs will last centuries in the mine. Here is the contradiction. These pictures were taken to be seen. That was their entire purpose. Now they are preserved by being unseen.
filed in a refrigerated vault 220 feet underground, and only a tiny fraction ever requested. The mine remembers the 20th century. The 20th century does not visit. Keep your family's page in mind. We are going back for it. 2 more stops. Vatican City. The Vatican Apostolic Archive. Around 85 kilometers of shelving holding the paperwork of 12 centuries. Papal letters, the trial of Galileo, Henry VIII's request to end his marriage with its seals still attached. Until 2019, it was called the Vatican Secret Archive, and the name was a translation problem, not a description. Credentialed scholars can request documents, but you must know what to ask for. You may not browse, and the majority of those 85 kilometers have never been transcribed, never been photographed, and in some cases, never been read by anyone except the person who wrote them and the person who received them. 12 centuries of correspondence, waiting in stone corridors for a reader with the right credentials and the right question. And outside Washington, D.C., the Library of Congress quietly ships its overflow to climate-controlled warehouses at Fort Meade, where millions of items sit in barcoded containers, packed by size rather than subject, retrievable in a day or two if anyone asks. For many of them, no one has asked since the day they were shelved. 5 places, 1 pattern. A hillside in Yorkshire, a mine in Pennsylvania, stone corridors under Rome, warehouses in Maryland, a granite mountain in Utah. Different owners, different countries, different reasons. A library, a corporation, a church, a government. They did not coordinate, and they all arrived at the same design. Seal the memory away from the world, keep it cold and dark and safe, and accept that almost no one will ever come to see it. Civilization did not plan this system. It grew, one practical decision at a time, out of a simple imbalance. We produce records faster than we produce readers. Every year, more books are printed than any human could read. More photographs are taken than any human could view. More documents are filed than any human could consult. The numbers do not go back down, so the vaults fill, and the mountain waits, and the robot makes its rounds. We built places where losing things would be impossible. Then we stopped asking for them.
Back to Utah, because the mountain has one more turn in it. You cannot go inside, but the records can come out. For years, scanning stations inside the mountain have been converting the film into digital images and publishing them through Family Search, the church's free genealogy service. The last microfilm shipped in 2017. In 2021, they finished digitizing all 2.4 million rolls. Today, nearly 6 billion images of records are online, searchable by anyone, for nothing. Which means you have probably touched the mountain without knowing it. If you, or anyone in your family, has ever looked up an ancestor online and found a scan of an old parish page or a census sheet, there is a real chance that scan traces back to a reel of film in Little Cottonwood Canyon, photographed decades ago by an operator whose name nobody recorded. So, here is the honest version of the promise this video opened with. Is there a page in that mountain with your family's names on it? Not certainly. Nobody can promise that. But the collection covers more than 100 countries and hundreds of millions of lives, and it grows every day. The odds are on the mountain's side. Somewhere on a shelf, in the steady cold, there is a canister. Inside it, a reel. Somewhere on that reel, a page. A clerk's handwriting. A date. A name that is also your name, or became your name, 3 or 4 or 10 generations before you were born. It has been sitting in the dark, waiting, since before you existed. Institutions used to lose things. Fires, floods, wars, neglect.
For most of history, forgetting was the default and remembering was the miracle. Sometime in the last century, quietly, the balance flipped. We got very good at keeping. Climate control, deep rock, low oxygen, redundant copies, robots that never sleep. Losing became the hard thing. But attention did not scale with storage. There are only so many readers and so many hours, and the vaults do not care. They keep filling, one book, one photograph, one page of handwriting at a time. The granite holds, the limestone holds, the hillside in Yorkshire holds, the corridors under Rome hold. The robot at Boston Spa makes its rounds in the dark, past 7 million spines. And inside a mountain in Utah, on a reel that may not be touched again for 100 years, a clerk's pen records the day your family began. The shelves are not empty. The readers are.